So, when you think about the 5 pillars of Islam, what comes to mind? Probably a list of rules or duties, right? Well, today, we're going to look at them a bit differently. Not as just a checklist, but as a complete system, a whole framework for a way of life.
And let me start by asking you something. Think about your day. In what ways do you already submit to things? I mean, we all have to, right? We submit to being hungry, to being thirsty, and then there's the big one, sleep. The poet Lord Byron had this great line. He called it the gentle tyrant. And it's so true. It's this force we just can't fight. We have to surrender to it every single day.
And that whole idea of submission, of surrender, well, that's literally at the heart of the word Islam. It comes from the Arabic root aslama, which means just that, to submit. In the Islamic worldview, it's not just people. All of creation, the stars, the animals, the trees, they're all seen as being in a constant state of submission to the laws of nature. It's just what they do.
So while the universe is sort of unconsciously submitting, for a human, it's different. The journey begins with a conscious choice. And that choice is the shahada, the testimony of faith. It's the moment someone verbally declares that they are willingly choosing this path of submission. And that single declaration, it's the key that unlocks the door to the other 4 pillars, the pillars of actual practice.
Okay, so let's walk through that door. The very first practice we come to is Salah, or prayer. And this is a big one because it's the pillar that structures your entire day around that act of submission. It's the daily, moment-by-moment reminder. And here's a really beautiful idea. The thinking is that every other creature already knows its own innate prayer. You know, the birds singing at dawn, the crickets at night. That is their praise. But humans, with our consciousness and our free will, we have to be taught how to pray. We're given a specific method, a way to consciously tune in and join that universal chorus.
And that method is built around 5 daily prayers. What's so interesting is that they're all tied to the sun's position in the sky. It completely reorients your schedule. You stop living by the clock on the wall, and you start living by the clock in the sky, the sun's journey from horizon to horizon.
And for centuries, this was literally how it was done. You didn't need an app. The original clock was just a stick in the ground. You'd watch the shadow it cast get shorter and shorter as noon approached, and then start to grow again in the afternoon. The simple act of watching the sun and its shadow becomes a part of the worship itself. It's a constant awareness of this divine clock.
All right, so we've submitted our time. Now let's talk about submitting our worldly attachments. This brings us to the next 2 pillars, zakat and Psalm. And these are all about our relationship with our wealth and our physical desires.
It's really helpful to think of these as 2 sides of the same coin, and that coin is purification. With zakat, or charity, you purify your wealth by giving some of it away. And with Psalm, or fasting, you purify your body by abstaining from its desires. So you see, one is about letting go by giving, the other is about letting go by holding back. It's a balance.
And in fact, the word zakat literally means to purify. The idea behind it is that wealth we earn isn't always perfectly clean. Maybe there's some unintended unfairness or exploitation somewhere down the supply chain we're not even aware of. So zakat is seen as this way to kind of cleanse your wealth, to make sure that what you hold on to is spiritually pure.
So how does it actually work? This is a really key point. It is not an income tax. It's a 2.5% due on a person's savings, the wealth that's been sitting there for a full lunar year. So it's a tax on accumulated wealth, not on the money you're using just to live day to day. Now, for the other side of worldly submission, we have fasting during the month of Ramadan. For a whole month, from the very first light of dawn until the sun sets completely, it's no food, no drink, nothing. It's like an annual spiritual training, a month-long exercise in disciplining the self, breaking those attachments to physical comfort, and really cultivating gratitude for them when the fast finally ends each day. Okay, so all of this has been building towards something. It culminates in the final pillar, the Hajj, or the pilgrimage. If prayer is about submitting your time, and charity and fasting are about submitting your wealth and desires, the Hajj is about submitting the one thing we hold on to the tightest, our own ego, our very sense of self. This is a once-in-a-lifetime journey to Mecca. For those who are able, that is basically a radical stripping away of your individual identity. The entire experience is designed to have everyone from every country, every culture, every economic background stand as absolute equals. And this is achieved through a state called ihram. Men wear just 2 simple, unstitched white cloths. Everyone removes their jewelry, their perfumes, any marker of status or wealth. And suddenly, you literally can't tell if the person next to you is a king or a farmer. Every single social distinction is just erased. For a few days, humanity is one. And this powerful quote from the Prophet Muhammad's final pilgrimage just cuts right to the heart of the whole experience. It says that in this ultimate act of submission, all those things that we use to divide ourselves, race, wealth, family name, they just disappear. The only thing that matters is one's inner state, one's consciousness of God. So we'll end with this question. You see, the pillars aren't just a list of rituals. They're a system. They're designed to guide a person step by step, from submitting their day, to their wealth, to their desires, and finally to their very identity. So what's the transformative power when millions of people do that together all at once? That's really something to think about.